They told you it was natural causes. They told you it was just another medical tragedy. But the cracks are already showing. The official story doesn't hold. The truth is leaking out, and the mainstream media is scrambling, desperate to plaster over the evidence and protect the elite paedophile ring Hogan was working to expose. Because Hulk Hogan wasn't just another wrestling icon, he was part of a covert mission, shoulder to shoulder with Mel Gibson, digging into Hollywood's darkest secrets. The trafficking, the exploitation, the ritual abuse hiding in plain sight. And now he's gone, silenced. The media won't touch it. The fact-checkers swarmed the second the story broke, circling like vultures. And yet, despite all their noise, the truth keeps bleeding through. That's why our audience matters. Our subscribers were the first in the world to learn the truth, right here last week. While the mainstream buried their heads, they already knew the disturbing reality behind Hogan's death. And now, the rest of the world is starting to catch up. And once you hear what we've uncovered next, you'll see exactly why Hogan was marked, how they silenced him, and why the truth about his death is far darker than anything the headlines will ever admit. Before we dive in, a quick word about our partner VP.net, the next generation of private browsing. VP.net is the only VPN designed with true zero-logging architecture. That means, unlike other VPNs, it literally can't track you. So even if governments or bad actors come knocking, there's nothing to hand over. It's that simple. Your data stays yours, period. Hulk Hogan has joined a long and growing list of Hollywood figures who were silenced before their time. Stanley Kubrick, Anne Heche, Paul Walker, Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, Anthony Bourdain, Avicii, and a growing list of others. All gone under deeply suspicious circumstances. All digging too deep. All connected behind the scenes to investigations into child trafficking, elite paedophilia, and the dark machinery that feeds it. Hulk Hogan, born Terry Bollea, was no different. He saw the truth, he tried to speak out, and now he's gone. The wrestling icon was found dead in his Florida home earlier this month. Authorities rushed to declare it a heart attack. Natural causes, they said. The media dutifully repeated the lie. But behind the curtain, those who really knew him were whispering something very different. Here at TPV, we had the inside track, and our subscribers were the first in the world to hear it. Hogan wasn't just a wrestling icon, he was quietly working side by side with Mel Gibson on a covert task force. One aimed at ripping the mask of Hollywood's most dangerous secrets. Its systemic paedophilia problem. And the moment we broke that story, the so-called fact-checkers swarmed like vultures, desperate to bury it. That alone told our audience everything they needed to know. When the establishment tries something that hard to discredit something, using nothing but personal smears and strawman arguments, you can bet it's because the truth is bleeding through. Now, fast forward just 1 week. The headlines are everywhere. The whole world is talking about it. Hogan's own family has stepped forward, confirming our reporting. This was not a natural death. His daughter revealed that law enforcement and professionals have already contacted her privately, urging her to push for the release of the 9/11 call and body cam footage.
Hulk's estranged daughter Brooke claims she's received calls from police officials and nurses who were eyewitnesses, telling her, quote, "I need to see body cam footage that could potentially change the narrative."
Everybody's there for a paycheck. Everybody's egging him on. Everybody's pumping his ego. And I said, it's killing him.
Hulk's autopsy has been done, and investigators tell ET they are in contact with Brooke and her brother Nick and won't be releasing any body camera footage until their investigation is complete.
Hulkamania will live forever, man.
So much for natural causes. But don't hold your breath waiting for an apology from the media and fact-checkers for failing to do their job in the first place. As Brooke Hogan explains, this is dangerous territory, and white hat officials are putting their careers at risk to expose the truth about the cover-up that's still playing out as we speak. They've warned her. Once this evidence comes to light, the official narrative collapses. The cover story disintegrates. And what replaces it isn't just scandal, it's something far darker. The kind of truth that doesn't just rattle Hollywood, it shakes the entire system to its core.
What is really interesting about this, and honestly we have not gotten to the bottom of yet, is that there was talk that Hulk had been cremated. Brooke Hogan, Hulk's daughter, has wanted an autopsy and said there was something suspicious here. You would think if, we don't know whether he's been cremated yet. A week ago they said he had not yet been cremated, but we don't know what the status is now. But you would think they would go for an autopsy if there was any evidence of medical malpractice.
Correct. And you remember, Hulk had 2 surgeries. In mid-May, he had one, a fusion on his neck to repair a neck injury he had.
Right.
That's when Charles mentioned. But about a week or 2 or a couple days before he passed away, he had a surgery on his heart as well. So it's unclear which surgery the occupational therapist is addressing with the phrenic nerve.
But it was a recent surgery.
So all that being said, though, you would think that if he had both these operations prior, you would want the autopsy to figure out
what I can't. Why
what
wouldn't
happened?
If the police have this information from, at least as the occupational therapist put it,
Right.
why wouldn't the medical exam? Why wouldn't the police?
I can't answer
order an autopsy.
I can't
like,
answer.
even without the
as opposed
families.
to Sky needing it, right?
Right.
I cannot answer that question yet. I don't know the ins and outs of Florida law that way. I just don't know. But the odd thing to me is that if this was medical malpractice, you would think the family, i.e. Sky, would have a claim, and you would want that autopsy
You
to
need that
confirm
autopsy.
it. And that's why this is so odd to me, that as far as we know, there has not yet been an autopsy.
Correct.
And that's what does not make sense to me.
Hogan didn't die because of some botched medical procedure. He didn't die of so-called natural causes. He died because those in control decided his voice was too dangerous to be allowed any longer. And what better cover than medicine itself? In the United States, doctors are the 3rd leading cause of death. A built-in alibi. The perfect disguise for an execution carried out in plain sight. The truth is simple. Hogan was silenced. And if they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone. The truth is, Hogan wasn't just a bystander, he was a pivotal part of Mel Gibson's task force. Over decades in the spotlight, Hogan had witnessed things behind the scenes of Hollywood that shook him to his core. We'll get into those details soon, but they were dark enough to haunt him. When Gibson stepped forward and began speaking publicly, Hogan recognized the moment. This was the fight he was willing to give everything for, the hill he was prepared to die on. And Gibson didn't hold back. He ripped the mask off the industry, exposing what insiders had whispered for years. The exploitation of children, the trafficking networks, and the ritual abuse that thrives right in front of us, hidden in plain sight.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Our future is our children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Goes the sound of freedom.
For Hogan, it all clicked. The whispers, the strange parties, the presence of children, the people who disappeared, the powerful figures who never faced consequences. It wasn't random. It was organised. That's when Hogan knew he couldn't stay silent any longer. He reached out to Gibson, a mutual friend through some of his contacts, and Gibson convinced him to collaborate on his investigation into the dark heart of the child trafficking and adrenochrome industry.
Hulk was more than just a legend in the ring. He was my friend. In his final years, he was on a mission, digging into something most people are too afraid to even talk about, the adrenochrome industry. He'd seen it. He knew the players, and he was ready to expose them.
A trusted member of Gibson's inner task force has also come forward, and they filled us in on the full story behind the Gibson-Hogan investigation. We now know that Gibson was developing a 4-part documentary, still in the works, aimed at exposing the full scale of Hollywood's adrenochrome network, child exploitation rings, and the elite cover-up machinery that protects it all. At the same time, Hogan was preparing his own weapon, an explosive tell-all book, packed with names, dates, and first-hand accounts, a raw, unfiltered account of everything he'd seen and survived. And he wasn't going to hand it over to the mainstream publishing world. He planned to release it independently, bypassing the gatekeepers to ensure it remained untouched, unredacted, and uncancelable. A forensic record of the truth that could circulate freely beyond censorship, beyond memory holding. An old-school document that cannot be erased. That was the plan, and that's exactly why they had to stop him. We have the details, everything we know so far, coming right up after this important word from our sponsor.